It's these lights when they just hit my eye right, and I'm like,
yeah. No, I told Sanaa I had an epiphany last night. I don't know when it was, between 2 a.m. and 9 a.m. or whatever, before I almost took someone out in our driveway.
Do share.
What part? The epiphany I had?
Yeah.
You just got your eyelashes done, so the weight of the eyelashes is weighing you. You don't have strong muscles in one of your. See, it's your eyelashes. When you get a fresh set, they just start to weigh your eyes down. That's what it is. It's always because when it starts to get like lighter and like all the lashes kind of start falling out, you don't see the disproportion in your eyelids. But the moment you pack them puppies on, it's like 1 pound each on each eyelid.
Well, what makes it funny is Thomas recognizes like, oh, mommy, your lashes. You got your lashes done, huh? I said, yeah. He goes, they look heavy.
See? No. See? He's perceptive. See?
Well,
See?
Hey, to some people, my eyes may look heavy, but to the trolls, they call me bug-eyed, big-eyed girl.
Yeah. When you go viral. What's wrong with her eyes?
What's wrong with her eyes?
Like,
no. In fact, I got a disease.
They're great. No, yeah, they're great. They're great.
No, I told you what he said yesterday. He was sitting there cooking. When I went and showed him this footage.
Yeah, they're gonna beat him up.
Ashlee goes, they filmed me with a sleepy eye. They got, this has never happened before. And I look at her, I'm like, what? You're unaware that you have one of your eyes that's like lower and sleepier than the other eye? Like, this is news to you. And she's like, no, it's just the way they filmed it. I'm like, babe, I've been with you for like 12 years. The day I met you, I knew you had, I'm like, go look at all your brother's pictures.
He just looks asleep.
Again, it's this. Look, you're laughing right now, and I cannot see your pupils. It's something your family does. It's your family. Your guys' eyes drop. Your eyelids drop when you talk, smile, or laugh.
Well,
they get. Yeah. See.
Yeah, we just talk to you like this.
She's like, this is news to me. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, listen. I'm
so mad.
Married
like
you knowing. She's like, does this bother you? I'm like, I've been with you for 12 years. Like,
which
no.
eye do you look at?
Yeah. Whichever's open. Whichever's awake.
Stop. You don't even have it.
Well, you talk so much and you think so much. It's just sometimes your eyes are like, I'm going to bed. With or without you, your eyes start closing.
They're over me. Just go to bed.
Yeah, for real.
Oh my gosh. I can't stand you. Oh. Well, now I'm crying.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to Beyond I Do. Thanks for joining us today. Such a joy to see all of you through the screen or audio or anything like that. Well, we got, Adam and Ashlee in the house.
Yeah.
We got Andy in the house. We got Alize, Nancy, Alex in the house, who does all of our cutting of the episode.
Yes.
You just still do all of it, right? Or does someone help you sometimes? Alex be editing this thing.
He's like, I have to
give
listen
kudos
to this all
Alex,
over again.
Making sure that you guys get the best cuts and stuff, and then Andy goes and clips it for social media, and sometimes pulls out the most reckless stuff ever and no context stuff, but
wild.
We're thankful for Andy. He got that good Gen Z eye.
Yeah. What everyone likes to.
And then it goes, man, it's a process. It's a team, because then it goes from Andy to then Alize's team, I think, and then they go and find, well, what's the most relevant music we can put to it? Let's behind it. Andy does that still. So Andy does the music, and then Alize, your teams write the captions on it. They schedule it out. It's a whole process. And then Nancy, she schedules any guests we have, sets all the times, makes sure we all know what we're doing, holds the whole ship together in that way for Beyond the Letter and Beyond I Do, and soon to be Bible Club, which we do have on the schedule to release. That being said,
tell me.
You know this. I just finally got an update because we were talking about it, which we did an episode not too long ago. Yeah. I needed something so that when my wrists are getting so big from working out. that the previous that the band I had was the metal one, and then when I was lifting, it would like pinch. So then I was like, I need a little fabric in there. You know what I'm saying? Need a fabric one.
Did you get me one?
I ain't thinking about you. What you mean? Every 3 days is like Christmas for Ashlee.
It is. Yesterday was wild.
Yeah, because I just be living on that TikTok shop. So
girl got pajamas, got pants.
Yeah.
What else?
Some what's the shapewear? Got you some shapewear.
Yeah.
You know,
this ain't sagging nowhere. Keep it nice and tight.
Yeah. Keeping your figure in line. I don't think they make it for eyes, but.
Just
the
a
toothpicks, like from like cartoons growing up. The toothpicks.
Just keep your eyes open, or just give me a patch. You sent me a patch the other day.
I've been sending her like pirate gifts and stuff like that. Yeah. So, anyways.
Okay, tell me.
So we talked about it some episodes ago where we were like, hey, if people are interested in some deeper community, I'm not gonna, waste any time. If people aren't interested. To let us know. And we have, I saw that episode, there were tons of comments from people, both men and women, saying they were interested in something like that. Alize just shared with me before this episode that the Instagram was just, tattered with people commenting how much they'd be interested in deeper community. Yeah. And so I've been doing a lot of research, trying to figure out what would be the best platform, what would accomplish what I think we would want to do, right? Mm-hmm. Because Patreon's great, but Patreon, I'm not to say anything bad, it's just, what I really want to do is not only be able to have me and Ashlee be able to connect with people in our community, but also allow people to connect at the same time. So I want us to be able to hold some, specialty content and everything within that. I talked about on here, like, I would love to talk about intimacy, something that like much more of like a sexual, emotional intimacy to help couples. Because when married couples get married, that tends to be what you and I, when we're sitting with couples, that tends to be what the man cares about a lot, right. And so I just, in a public platform, like we are on YouTube and Spotify, and us being church leaders, I want to expose that to just a public audience. So I'd want this community. I'd love to be able to help single people process the season that they're in more, and also create a space where singles can meet each other, talk to each other, hold certain small events. I don't like large event stuff, and so the church we lead is so big. Any type of singles things we host is just like 100 people, and it's so much, women. Right? 99 women, 10 guys come, and so I really want space where that can kind of cultivate, and then obviously then be able to transition with their new season, right? Like say they single and then they meet someone, they get engaged and they get married. I want them to be able to seamlessly still be in community with us, so that in their new season and different seasons they can support. I want some space where like, single mothers can, figure out their season and find help. And I want to be able to create space for blended families, and so all in all, there's a lot of angles to this. I found a great platform that I think we're probably going to end up going with. Honestly, by the time this episode airs, it may be available. And so, because I've been building it out and, setting all the price points and everything, because we do have to have prices in for it. Number one, because if I just make it public and free, that's where all the research I saw that they did, that's where trolls come in and they can, inauthentically mess with the community and all that. Like, so I want enough of a paywall that happens that it's like people who truly want to be in it are in it. No one would try to, no one would try to be a troll paying, $15 a month or $20 a month or something like that, or $10, whatever it's going to be. And then obviously moderate and all that kind of stuff like that. So all in all, found this website called Mighty Networks. You can download an app for it. And here's some great things you could do. You could do one-on-one DMs. So like in the future, like as we you and I may help people moderate with us. So we may say like, hey, this is a great blended family that we want to help moderate that. So the way it works is basically I can create locked communities under the Beyond I Do umbrella. We're calling it After I Do so that it doesn't get confusing. So we're going to have After I Do community. And I could a person will basically, when they go to subscribe, they will pick in the After I Do community, what community they want to be in, which is only two, right? A marriage and family community, and then a single and focused community. That's what I'm calling it right now. Single and focused. And in the single and focused would be everything in there. So that would be, single parenting.
Yeah.
That would be what we're also going to have in there is men's only group chat, women's only group chat, and we actually have to approve. So we are going to find some moderators who.
Yeah.
So like, let us know, because I'm not sold on it yet in the sense of like who, like if you really listen to Beyond I Do, weekly, and you're like, I would love to help Adam and Ashlee kind of moderate these communities. Let us know, and we can have the team give you a phone call and vet you and see, because we are going to need some people that are going to help moderate in these channels. Ashlee and I will always be involved in and out, have access to these. So you can basically, like in the singles and focused one, we'll have like single parenting, we'll have a men's only, we'll have a women's only, and then we have to approve you. So obviously we open it, have to make sure that you check your gender so that we know that, okay, they could be in women. So you'll be in those. Some of those will have to be exception based. Others people can just jump in.
Yeah.
In the single one, we'll have a singles mixer one. So like kind of more of a Facebook thread where like people that are actually like, we're all actively looking for someone, right? That there, you could join that mixer. And so that will have conversation and try to create some community. And then it'll also give you access to, let's just say we hold a singles mixer Zoom where we say, hey, 10 guys and 10 girls only, we have one of our, moderators or me and Ashlee are going to host it through Zoom. We're going to have y'all, and then it's going to move to some in-person thing and hopefully let some singles meet each other. Then you go over to we'll have a marriage community as well, marriage and family. And then same thing in there's going to be a men's only, there'll be a women's only. And so as men are chatting saying, hey, is anybody else's wife this crazy? Or women are like, hey, does anyone else want to strangle their husband because of blank? And then there's be a chat that's safe and friendly, and it's all centered around our faith and our pursuit for Jesus. And so there's a basis for us. Within that also, we would have, raising children one. And so everyone would have access to all these, except for obviously the men's and women's one specifically. You'd have to, once you subscribe, whatever it's going to be, $9.99, $14.99, whatever it is, once you subscribe and you pick the one, you'll have access to everything. It's just the men's one and women's one will have to approve you to make sure that you, so that you're not like spying on your husband or something like that, seeing if he's, create space for them. So some of them are chat based. We'll also be able to hold special live events. We'll be able to do special episodes like we talked about, intimacy only episodes. So we may, for the married, just that married group, we may film a podcast one day just based off of people's intimacy questions, and that'll only be uploaded in the marriage and family. And so I want to be able to do some deeper content, but it be filtered where everybody is like committing to say, hey, this is what we're interested in. So I think we figured it out. It's After I Do. And so if it's launched already, you'll probably already find it on Instagram and stuff. It'd probably be on the show notes. I almost have it done. I just got to sit down one day for a few hours and finish, most of the stuff. But we've been building it. And so it's almost there.
That's awesome.
Do you have anything you want to say on it? I try to explain it as much. You don't know how much this stuff works, but you'll be in it. And people can send DMs. So instead of, people tell me all the time, oh, I reached out on your Instagram. And I'm just like, our stuff, I don't want to sound bougie, but it's going viral so much that it's comments and, DMs. They always coming and going. And so once you hit a certain amount of comments, they all just start dropping away. And so I want people to DM me. Please continue to DM. But if I don't see it, it's not personal. Whereas in these communities, it comes in like an actual like a WhatsApp message, but it's built into the app. And so when you download the app, people could DM us. They can get in contact with us. We can help get them resources if they need it or whatever it is. We can also nominate moderators. Say, hey, these people are really great. We love them for blended family. Because in the marriage and family, we'll have a blended family group. And we'll be like, man, so we'll have these like niche things that as people are going through that where we can share resources, do specialty things, episodes, stuff like that.
Love it. No, I was just going to say one thing that's really beneficial is like you saying, like people either DM or commenting and wanting us to respond. That's the hard part about us going viral is that we rarely, in full transparency, check the comments because that's where the negativity or the trolls come in. So we keep ourselves from the comments and just allow it to go and allow people just to have conversations or topics. But this is going to be a good platform if they have comments on a podcast we did or something that was grabbed from Andy, like, hey, what did you mean by that? I didn't get a chance to watch that. Like, can you elaborate on that or anything like that? So I think it's a really good platform to have.
Yeah, and we have a very different approach than the average faith-based, people on social media, which is, I believe in like a free market thought. So you'll see like a lot of other Christian, leaders and podcasters and stuff, they filter their comments a lot. They limit their comments a lot. And, I believe if that were people that are like, oh, yeah, free speech should be legal. We should be able to talk about our faith. Well, I also think that someone should be allowed to be like, hey, I think this guy's, wrong,
Right. Right.
And but sometimes they make it personal, right? And so I want free market thought. So we want you to comment. We want you to engage. But sometimes I see it. Sometimes I don't. And so, having a place where people can provide feedback, but also go deeper. And every week we will be like, hey, y'all, because there will be like a thread that everybody can see. And it'll be like, hey, this episode dropped. Tell us your guys' thoughts, blah, blah, blah. What would you love us to talk about more? And so it'll be a true Beyond I Do community that we're calling After I Do. So
Right. And coming in from a good place and a good heart for the people that genuinely want this type of community. I think it's also going to be great and fun for us to see everyone else's thoughts on this, on a topic that we may have, something that we may have not thought of. And it may be great content for us as well, giving us new insight of the way that other people may think or the way other individuals may do their relationships. Because, like you said, and we've said, is like, we don't have all the answers and we're always willing to learn and grow. So I think that this is just going to be a great platform for all of us to just have good, healthy conversations.
For sure. Yeah. And then I'll say this, and we'll jump on that. One of the other reasons why there will be like a paywall too is because it costs us money, because to have that platform, it's a monthly charge, and you have to pay taxes at the end of the year and all that kind of stuff like that. And so that's why we're encouraging people to, like, hey, if you're part of it, also support so that we can continue to.
Right.
I want to be able to have more guests on that are niche specific, but sometimes they do require, because what they do for a living, they require payment. And so I would love through this community that, as people subscribe, it allows us to have an income to invite specialty, guests that are very specific, that could speak to not just the community on the platform, but even in Beyond I Do, right? And so I see that community really, taking off and seeing people's feedback. So potentially it's in the show notes right now. If it's not, then just wait. Maybe they'll even make a lower third by then, but it's 80% done. So, it should be done by the time this episode airs, which would be fun.
Love it.
Yes.
That's great.
And it maybe already has been on our social media for a week or two, as well. It just depends on when this episode airs in the schedule and when we finish the Mighty Networks thing, So Ashlee's gonna have her whole little, women's group and that whole thing, and they all gonna be,
This airs next week.
This airs next week, so could be there, could be done. I think so. Might be.
Hey,
depends. You
got a long flight next week.
I'm on 5 airplanes next week,
Yep,
so
hey, you better figure it out.
Yeah.
Better get it done.
So maybe I can't finish it on the airplanes. Yeah, that'd be pretty easy. And study sermons for weekends. Okay, I got. We could talk about this. We saw this video. Believe it or not, I think Pastor Aaron wanted to talk about it last week, but they never got to it. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff.
We're like
we could talk about this. We are, and I just, I changed in my office because I was wearing something else earlier, so it wasn't planned for sure.
Now you flexing in them.
I didn't flex. Hey, if you think I was flexing, I'm flattered because I wasn't. So if just me breathing is a flex, thank you. Thank you so much for that compliment.
All right, go ahead, Andy.
Haters is going to hate. All right, go ahead.
And your question?
Okay, say we dating. We've been dating probably like 3 months. When would it be time to talk about marriage? 3
When
months
you know
in.
that you're ready to marry me.
Me?
Yeah.
When the man? So
You're the leader.
right, correct. So 3 months in, if I'm talking about marriage, we just kicking it here and there, but I'm talking about marriage. How would you feel?
I'm not kicking it with anyone. I date to marry.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're dating.
So dating to marry, if you're talking about marriage, we're on the same page.
So within 3 months, we could talk
We're
about
on
marriage.
the same page.
Watch Poppy Balloon.
It's kind of too early for me. I think you should still get to know a person. It takes years to really know a person. And if you talking about marriage within the first 3 months, then you doing it for the wrong reason. I think you too turned up for it, for marriage.
Okay. Did you catch what happened though? He brought it up.
What are you talking about, sir?
He brought it up.
I was too stunned to speak when he popped that balloon. I was like, wait.
He said, so if I brought up marriage 3 months in, what would you
Right.
say? And she basically said, yeah, you know, if you're ready to talk about it, I'm ready because I date to marry. And he popped it and said, I think talking about marriage 3 months in is a little too soon. And he says he brought it up. He said, what if the first minute he says, what if I brought it up? Because she goes, what do you mean 3 months in? It's up to you. And she goes, so what if I brought it up? And she'd be like, okay, then yeah, I'm dating to marry. Like, we should talk about it. And he's like, no, that's too early.
That's too early.
I'm trying to. First of all, that's the definition of gaslighting right there.
100%.
It's like he gaslighting her into something that she gets punished for it, something he led her into, you know. Second of all, I think that her answer was really great.
Same.
You take the lead.
You're the man.
You're the man. Call it. I am trying to date to get married. So if you're ready, if you know, and what she's not saying is, yeah, let's get married after 3 months. She's saying, yeah, let's start that conversation.
Well, yeah. Well,
You know.
I would have read right into it when he said, yeah, we kicking it. No, we ain't kicking it. So she checked him right then and there because he was like, oh, we kicking it for 3 months. No, there ain't no kicking it. Either we're going or we're not. There's no kicking. Either you're walking then. Go out that door. There's no kicking. That, you know, I can't stand when people gaslight. It's like either, why are you?
I knew this was going to get to Ashlee.
It makes me so mad because I feel like why?
When I saw the video, I'm like, oh yeah, this will be Ashlee. I have something for this.
I just don't. Why are we dragging people along? Like at the end of the day, like okay, if it's not 3 months, what's 6 months? At the end of the day, the end goal is to get married. Correct? Why? 3 months is not too soon. You have 2 months where you've dated the person. You're at month 3. She didn't say get married. You could talk about marriage. What would you desire? If we were to get married, what does that look like? It's not putting a stamp on it. There's ifs, ands, and buts when it comes to the what if. What if? There's always, it's a question mark. It's not a period. So at the end of the day, like he's so ignorant. He need to get popped in the head with the balloon. This is so disrespectful.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand when it comes to dating what your end goal is. Like you said, he's just he told on himself. He's dating to kick it. He wants options. He's not ready to settle down. He's not ready to find a wife. He's like, oh, no, that's too soon. Okay, then it is too soon. We ain't kicking it. Like she said, she told him off right then and there. So for him, if I were to be watching that as a woman, I would have been like, yeah, that's 3 months is too soon. I'd be like, yeah, he's not ready and he's going to play you and he's going to manipulate you and he's going to gaslight you and he's going to tell you the sweet nothings, all while still having in his back pocket, like, I ain't dedicated to this woman. I'm not marrying this woman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for the good on that other girl to just stare him in the face and be like, then it ain't it.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, I'm not going to get into it.
Well, she's looking for him to lead. And obviously it's that pop the balloon game thing. So she don't even know him, but she's telling him like, hey, if we decided we were interested in each other, like she says, like I'm trying to date to get married. They
Right.
both seemed a little older. They're not 20-year-olds or
No.
anything like that. It seemed like she was 30, 40s.
Yeah.
He could be the same. So it's like an acknowledgement, like not young. I'm dating to marry. And all she's looking from him is like, she's saying, hey, you lead the relationship. As you know, let me know. And they're talking obviously hypothetically because it's that pop the red flag game thing with the balloons. But at the same time, it's like, what she said to me couldn't have been more healthier in the sense of like, I'm not expecting the world from you. Date 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not even saying, hey, you need to marry me.
Right.
I'm saying you're the man. You take the lead.
But
you
even
let me know how things progress.
Even her saying that, she was
like,
respecting him and saying, yeah, you're the man, right?
yeah.
And he didn't even honor that to say like, wow, she would genuinely respect. She didn't say 3 months. She said,
Yeah.
well, it's up to you.
Yeah. Which like is a privilege for a guy to find someone who's like, yeah, what, lead, why don't you take the lead? Go ahead. Let me know.
But I'm dating to marry.
Yeah. And here's my principle on it. And, he's saying, oh yeah, I think it's too early. It's like, well, first of all, you're the one who brought it up. Second of all, like as a man, and we talk about this all the time, like to me, to have a healthy relationship as a man with your future potential spouse, if you're dating, you need to start exercising not only leadership, but you need to start exercising decisive thinking, right? To say, hey, because the more stress we add on this relationship, whether it be marriage, whether it be finances, whether it be children, whether it be other family members, anything else that's in there, like if I don't know how to communicate, if I don't know how to lead, if I don't know how to make decisive efforts, then more than likely as a wife steps into that, at first she just may be like, oh, he's cute, he's handsome, this or that or whatever. But like once that kind of whole emotion and like your first initial attraction goes away, and then she's feeling the weight, of a person who isn't making decisions, isn't leading, isn't guiding their family, isn't driving the ship forward, well, then it could be very frustrating for a woman who may say, man, that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for,
right.
But
until you've gained it or until you've seen it for your own eyes, you don't, some women now as you get older know what they want and what they desire.
Yeah.
For me, prior to dating you, I didn't know that was something that I desired. I just was doing what I thought was right or what I thought the other guy wanted me to do, and that was lead. Like, hey, I was very decisive because, whatever you want. All right, then let me just do it. Oh, whatever. Okay, then let me do it. But when it came to you, you're like, no. I was like, what? I was like, ooh, I kind of like this. Ooh, you tell me no. Okay, are we not doing that? Oh, no, you will. After we get engaged, you will be sitting with me on the front row. Oh, I am? No, I don't want to. No, you are. And I was like, okay. But it's something where until you've been treated, because you did it in the utmost respect, there was never any like, because I said so. But it was like, I'm here to show you that I can take care of you, that I can provide for you, that I am decisive. I know who I am. I know what I desire. I know what I want. I know what I'm going for. I know my goals and aspirations. Sometimes when I look at certain, I would say on both ends of men or women, if you are undecisive in who you should be dating and you're well in your 30s and the expectation of what you desire, and if we're kicking it or if we're dating to marry and you have no idea what you want, run. Run. That guy, I would have told that girl, give me a balloon. I'm going to pop it on you because you dumb. Because you are so indecisive. You don't even know what you want. You want to kick it.
Yeah.
But you just affirmed everything I said with, you're the man. Yeah, you lead. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's based on what you bring it up. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's too soon.
Yeah.
But then what are you doing? I'm dating to marry. Yeah, that's right. Like he affirmed everything she said and then said it was too soon. Yeah. So then what tells me, sir, is you have no idea what you want, or you want your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, the healthy version, someone would say, well, what would be the healthy version? That healthy version would be him saying, hey, I think putting pressure on the man to know whether he wants to marry or not 3 months, 4 or 5 months in. I've been in past relationships where 2 months in, 3 months in, they're saying, hey, where's this relationship going? And I'm still filling it out. And so I think it takes me a year or two before I think I'm going to be able to decide whether you would be someone I want to be married with. Does that bother you? Mm-hmm. And then if she said, yeah, that would bother me to wait 2 years. Okay, then you pop the balloon.
Right.
Or she would say, no, I'm good with that. It's like, okay, that's the way you communicate healthily. Right. Like when you're in a marriage, that is the way you communicate. You don't gaslight when you're in a marriage, and many people do, but I don't say, hey, what's your decision on that? And then you tell me and I go, that makes me mad. That offends me. I don't like that. Like you said something that made me upset. And it's like, well, you just led me in.
Right.
Like if I was like, oh, it's Christmas and I want to go to my parents all day. What do you think about that? And you're like, well, I'm not a fan of it. Oh, well, red flag.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And it's like, bro, you let them, she don't even know if it
you.
bothers you.
Right,
She
right.
don't know, like, rather than going like, hey, holidays are really important to me.
Yep.
I think as we get serious, what would a preferred holiday look like for you? Here's what it would look like for me, because it's really important to me, this and that. Yeah. And you ask questions. You investigate. That's really what dating is all about, is investigating the person, investigating their values, investigating what's important to them, investigating their expectations. About month 3 for us was when it was kind of around then when you and I were sitting down or on a date or something. And I just said, hey, I don't want to leave you in the dark. Here's what I think. If you and I are still dating in the next 12 months, if I have any red flags in this relationship or something that would keep me from progressing the relationship, I would tell you before a year from now. But a year from now, if I'm not sitting down and I'm going, hey, I don't know where this relationship going. I don't really like the way that you handle this or you do this or whatever, then you can assume that I'm by a year in, I want to progress this relationship to potentially get engaged. And I said, do you see any issue with that? And you were like, no, I think I'd be okay with that. Yeah. And so I said, okay, great. And obviously people know the other story. Year in, you started getting, more nervous because of more of my occupation, being a pastor and stuff. But overall, it said, this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm not here to waste your time. Yep. We both want to be in a relationship that ends in marriage. And so, within 2 years, if things go well, I would like to be married.
So this is where I think he was trying to get her at, which doesn't make any sense because he baited her into something that he ended up, in my opinion, didn't sound correctly. He baited her into basically saying like, yeah, I want marriage. So like if roles were reversed and at 3 months and I was like, hey, I want to get married. What would the response of it? Because that's what I think a lot of men these days now say. Well, you just want to get married. You just want to get a ring. You just want to be wifed up. And it's like, ain't that biblical? Ain't we supposed to get married? Like, isn't that what we're striving to obtain, to have healthy families and a husband and a wife and build a family and a foundation and build something of a legacy and what men live for is to have a family and a legacy and to be proud of what they've accomplished, not only financially, but gained as a whole with their family. Like, isn't that a desire? So why is it when a woman says that she wants to get married or that's a desire of her to have a family and have kids, now all of a sudden we look like we're desperate and we're anxious and we're striving for something that only a man can give, and that's all you're good for. Like, we just need you to, like, it's almost like an use and abuse of what they're saying. Of the man is like, oh, you just want me to get married. Yeah. No, I want a man that's gonna love me and guide me and be a leader, like she said. Like, I want those desires, and I want him to want me. But at the end goal is, yes, to get married. Like, not to live a life of no value and no legacy. And so that's why, like, for me, I didn't like the way that he did it because he totally flipped it on her to be like, you're desperate. Yeah. You're desperate.
Well, and I think what a lot of times, a man may not be able to recognize is that, a woman who articulates she wants marriage, there's also an instinctual articulation of, like, I want security, and I think the deeper you go into the dating game, right? Like, so I think that a woman doesn't feel that as much when you're living by the Christian ethic that goes like, hey, I don't have sex till marriage. I don't engage in these things, certain things. Because what happens is the moment you go deeper into intimacy in the dating phase, the more that, number one, a man goes, hey, I'm getting everything I want. I've conquered the dating game, and so therefore I'm fulfilled. Yeah. A woman doesn't technically get fulfilled off of the intimacy. She gets fulfilled off of where the intimacy leads, which is security. Right. Which is, I bear children through intimacy. So therefore, what happens is when we bear children, we make a home together. There's security there. There's, you're a mom. I know how much you sacrifice. I know how much you give to take care of our sons. I couldn't imagine just dipping out and then going, hey, Ashlee, you do that. I'm not going to be an active father. Mm-hmm. And then put all that weight on you. You should be if you and I are just playing house and there's a potential for you like to get pregnant and then me just peace out, and then I may, you may take me to court and I may owe child support, but at the end of the day, that's not fun. No. That's no one's in desire. Oh yeah, I love sleeping around and having children and getting child support. Like there may be if someone says, well, I know people like that, that would be a small statistic of people that were like, that's not the outcome I wanted. And so where a woman saying, most of the time what happens, a woman who's saying she wants security, more than likely you guys are sleeping together all the time. Because the moment you start having intimacy, her body goes, lock this down. We need security. He's thinking, I got everything I wanted. Right. What do I need to marry you for? Right. And so that's why what you find mostly in the Christian tradition or any tradition that saves sex till marriage and that those type of intimacies till marriage is you don't have a lot of women going like, you need to marry me today. You need to marry me because her body and that level of connection is not crying out for security to that degree, which is essentially what happened with me and you. Like we created, I said, hey, I don't want to ever stay up past 10. I want to try our best not to hang out alone. I had a home at the time. And it's like, if you come to the house, I want to make sure that, my roommates are in the house with me and this and that. Why? Because I don't want to inauthentically push this relationship forward when we could actually, at the end of the day, end up not liking each other. But you and I have already engaged with sex so many times that, and you hear this all the time, well, the sex is good, but the relationship sucks. And it's like, well, yeah, you've used that as a crutch now that because of one form of intimacy is good, you're blinded by the rest of the picture of this relationship being complete junk. But oh yeah, the sex is good. Or oh yeah, he goes out but he comes back at night to sleep with me and so I'm good. I mean, you and I have done counseling and sat with people, Christian, semi-Christian, non-Christian for so many years that we've heard every statement in the book that's like, oh, just break up with him. Oh well, but he does come home at night, and it's like, yeah, but at what time? And then what happened? And and then same thing with him. Like, oh yeah, she's pretty nasty to me, but I wouldn't. It's just easier. I wouldn't want to start over. And it's like, and we're talking about specifically in the dating phase. Yeah. And it's like, what do you mean start over? Like, so you'd rather just stay in this cycle when something out there that's potentially so much better for you could be there. If you just exercise patience, hold on to your morals and values. I'm trying to be a Christian woman, but all these guys just want to do is sleep with me. And so, and it's like, okay, well then they're not the right guys. Right. I get it. Like, it may feel that way, but hey, they're not the right people then, I get it. It's hard to find, but it's not impossible. Yeah. I found it. My brother found it. Right. Like, people I know, Jermaine found it, Aaron found it, and people journey together, and people who maybe even started out wrong, you can find a way, find a relationship with God, prioritize if you're married now and you feel like you're dated with your spouse totally horrible and you got pregnant first and it led you into a situation you wouldn't have picked any other way, but still, God is redemptive. God does miracles. He can heal. You can find a love for your spouse that you never had before. Should you lay your own desires at the altar. So yeah, there's just a lot on that, but.
No, that was really good. No, because I really think that we get so wrapped up in women. I mean, when you and I were dating, that was something that I absolutely enjoyed, was knowing that there was, and there wasn't security knowing that we were getting married, but there was a security that I felt, that we've had this conversation before where we've talked about, like, you didn't have to claim me on social media. You didn't have to claim me to everybody. You didn't have to, because there was a level of our relationship and communication that was so healthy that there was never a need or desire that I needed to be exposed in order to feel secure. Now, past relationships, oh, no. I need to feel that. Like, I needed posting, I needed walking around, I needed holding hands, I needed it in the skyline, all because I didn't feel secure with who I was dating. So in this dating world...
and because you were living with them, and because you were sleeping with them, and you were doing everything else. So, yeah, instinctually, your hormones, your motherly instincts, like, you don't have to have a baby just to have those type of instincts that God created. You start immediately, having sex with somebody. You're, traditionally in the church, what we call it a soul tie. Anyone could call it whatever they want, strongman, whatever. But there is a connection that you start having with that person, and each male and female made differently, but in God's image, each one progresses the relationship further, in different ways, right? And so man's instinct is supposed to be, okay, I'm sleeping with this person, I need to start providing for this person. So you do see men, they in the dating phase, they're trying to provide for you. So they're taking you on dates, so that, they're peacocking, right?
Yep.
And then for a woman, hers is, okay, you start sleeping together. It's like, okay, we got to lock this down. We have to draw this into a family. And if a man has not been mentored well, he'll go, oh, I don't want that. I've just been enjoying having the fun and this and that. And so you're speaking two different languages, and you're, the girls realize, like, oh, why can't I, I'm giving him everything he wants. Why isn't the relationship going any further? Well, because you're giving him everything that he wants. Go give a 5-year-old everything they want and see how healthy they talk to you, how healthy they treat you as an adult. Man, they ain't going to respect you at all if you give them everything that they want. And so that's not the path towards peace or purpose in a relationship. But that's what we think in a relationship. And for you, that's how it was. And for me, it was, hey, I know where this goes. I know where this goes. If you and I just start fooling around right away, if we have no boundaries and you sleep over at my house, and I can do that, I have my own home. I may have roommates, but I'm like, you could work around that. But it was like, here's the deal. I'm not doing that. I want to actually know at the end of the day, if I ask you to be my wife, there are no blinders. I don't need to test ride the car. Anyone who's been married long enough, whether you slept with them before, after, in between marriage, sexual intimacy is hard regardless. Like that whole premise of like, well, we got to test ride the car. The car needs maintenance every single year regardless. Like you're not going to figure that thing out. So don't think you need to test it out in the dating phase to see if you can, like, that's just bull. That's just you to be able to be a Christian and get what you want at the same time. Your marriage is going to suck when you live it your own way. Like it's not in the Bible. It's not God's plan. Like just stop with that. That's an excuse. So the amount of Christians that I see that say you need to test ride the car, let me know in 5 years when you're married. Tell me when you test rode the car, and if you've test rode 50 other cars, how your marriage is. Statistically, it's not good. Right. Unless you've got freedom and you really put that work in it. Like it's possible, but that's not they act like the byproduct of testing the car means you have a healthier intimacy, or we got to make sure we're compatible. But no, compatibility comes from effort and sacrifice. It doesn't come from an innate instinctual of like, oh, I liked doing this in bed. Did you like doing this with the 30 other people you were with? Like, that's the goofiest thing I've ever heard. Like, it comes in to say, hey, I found through our intimacy together, I really like this. Would you keep doing this? And if you really love me, you'll do it. And if it really makes you uncomfortable or brings a trauma for you, I'll love you enough to be like, hey, it's not that important. You don't have to do that. And then we can go and talk to other couples and try to get some counseling to maybe help you or maybe help me more. But it's like, we didn't need, I had more hell coming into our marriage from my previous relationships, than I didn't from quote unquote test riding the car, 100%. And you too in the same way. So it's whatever. Get in these tangents, take all these like therapy, not my own therapy, but the ones counseling we have with people where I'm looking at like, you guys really believe this? You really believe this is the way to a healthy relationship? Right,
because they're exposing so much more that they never knew was there because they tested the car. Yeah. And realized that one is a Ferrari and you're a Prius. So you probably shouldn't have done that.
I mean, everybody has different comfort levels, different upbringings, different everything, right? Yeah. So it's like you expose yourself to so much with 30 other, and some people have no value of themselves. Right. So they'll let you do whatever to them physically, And I'm not saying because your spouse lets you do whatever, it means they have no value. But there are people who don't have it, and they'll be like, I don't care what you do to me in bed. And then you end up going like, oh, I really like this. And then you get married, and then your spouse is like, yeah, I don't like that. And you're like, well, I was with a girl who did. And it's like, but that girl also didn't even care about you, you know, like they didn't. And so you have such a convoluted view of what this intimacy looks like, where it's not just about, you know, getting your thing down, right? There's people listen to us with kids in the car, but that's why I use intimacy and other stuff to filter, but which is why we need our community. But it leads to that. It's like, you know, like just because there's things you're interested in, it could take time till your spouse is comfortable, because they could have actually grown up with an extreme value of themselves and go, oh, I don't know how I feel. Now, I do agree in marriage, you know, there really shouldn't be too much off the table, but everybody has to grow there differently. Took you and I years to get to that place because of your own baggage from your own previous relationships, trauma, baggage, whatever you want to call it, and me vice versa in other ways, right? So it's like it did more harm rather than you and I getting married, both pure, having no experience, saying, hey, let's enjoy this together and explore together. In fact, no, you and I came together like, oh, this guy really always liked this, and it just made me feel like a piece of junk. And I'd be like, well, I would like to do that, but I don't want to make you feel like a piece of junk. So yeah, I just pull it off the table. Like it did more bad than good.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And only 10 years in are we really like finding a pocket in intimacy that took 10 years to work through our own dating experiences that weren't even with each other.
Stupidity is what I call it.
Much of yours. Much of yours. I've been pretty. The Lord got me at a younger age.
He
but
kept me for sure.
No, he didn't keep you. He was.
No, not that way.
I'm saying like.
I'm saying he kept me. I'm here.
Yeah, he blessed you
very
immensely.
much. Yes, he covered me. Yeah.
He saw your heart.
He saw my heart that it was good.
Yeah. Like, well, she's not that bad.
And that I would find.
She'd be making dumb decisions.
There was a man that was going to find me and then obtain favor with the Lord. Mm-hmm. It's on you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so hard because looking back at when that time did happen, when I was first intimate, there comes a point where obviously being healed, delivered, and restored from it, but like you have so much regret of like, dang, so many years ago, so far ago, like so ignorant, so dumb, so young, and to be in the space and place to now where I'm married, have two beautiful boys, but knowing like for Adam and I, the struggles that we've had with intimacy has, I'm sure there's many of people that probably listen to this that if they've lost their intimacy or lost their, just say virginity at a young age, they wish they could get it back and they wish they could have done it over and prayerfully it would have been different in marriage to where they wouldn't have to struggle with the things that they're probably struggling with. But then it's also probably people that are listening that probably struggle with it and don't even say that they're struggling, that they're just keeping it down and putting on a funk and that's unhealthy. Mm-hmm. That's unhealthy because then you're not healthy. Just because that's one thing I realized within our marriage is when it came to intimacy, I was always the one that I wanted to please. And so it came to a point where I told Adam, like, I still want to please, but I don't want to get to a point where it's just repetition because I want to make you happy. Like, that doesn't make me happy. That's exhausting for me. And I don't ever want to go into something special with my husband and I'm just eye rolling because I know it's making him happy because I didn't voice what really was going on. So the fact that we were able to expose it early on I wouldn't say early on. The fact that we were able to expose it along within our marriage.
Well, it takes years, you know, like it's, because it took years to like, we could identify it, but then you have to work back at like, okay, well then, what does this mean, and how do I operate it? Because for you, your mentality's still there, and so I think I have it in my book, which it'll come out one day because the publishers want to do a bigger launch than I anticipated, so they're putting it out till 2026. But I think I talk about it in the sense that we just spoke different languages when it came to intimacy. So for you, which is not me, is like when I would ignore you, if I would ignore you, be really cold with you, if I would seem sketchy, then you would be like, oh, I got to be intimate with Adam to get his attention back,
Right.
so that I'm not out here competing with these other girls, where I was like, so then I caught that it would be really unhealthy, because I'd be like, if I give Ashlee attitude or we fight and I'm cold to her, or I'm really upset, she immediately is trying to be intimate men being, I've always said men are like dogs. They respond in three ways, and it's really easy to, please a man, which is you either feed him, you rub his belly, or you tell him he's a good boy. And they're all, so it's like you feed a man, you touch him, rub his belly, intimacy, or even just like physically touch him in any way, or give him a word of that. You're so strong, you're so smart, thank you for, like, he's pretty easy, easy to please in that sense. And so if I wasn't on the healthier side, and if I noticed like, oh, Ashlee, like, she actually has a very, like, because you had been in so many bad relationships, you had a very long suffering, like, I thoroughly believe, it never happened, but I thoroughly believe when we were married, like, if you caught me like flirting with a girl in text message, I don't think you would have divorced me, because you had such a long suffering view of like that men are crap, that I'm like, she actually probably would have loved me more if she caught that, because she would have saw it as competition and I got to ramp up the game or whatever. And so, like, obviously now for you, when you help young women, you have a higher view of yourself, but
Right.
earlier on when we got married, you didn't. And
Right.
so as a man, if I caught, that's what gets me rewarded. Like, oh, go flirt with girls, be cold to her, treat Ashlee badly. That's when she puts the game on me because she's trying to get me back. Well, that would have created a really toxic relationship for us, because it would have led me down a rabbit hole. It definitely would have at some point taken me out of full-time ministry, But for literally, like, not just months, for years in our marriage, that is how you responded intimately. And so, and I would fight to just be like, hey, today's a good day, let's be intimate. And in your head, you're like, no, you're good, get away. Like, you're happy. Why would I give you anything? Like, you're happy. Like, I'm only supposed to give it to you when you're mad at me, And it's like, when I started recognizing, it's like, oh man, this is going to be such a toxic marriage because then eventually we figured it out, but you still didn't know. And took years and conversations and accountability and community, and which would be our own version of counseling and therapy and stuff like that. It was like, it was like, oh, you recognize, like, oh, I am only rewarding Adam when he's cold. But how often is Adam cold? He's not, because he's, I'm bad at a lot of things, but I'm fairly emotionally, healthy, not emotionless, but just emotionally healthy. So like, you're not going to break me. And so there was a couple times in the marriage, but overall it's like, you be mean to me, I'm like, I'm going to have a positive attitude. I'm going to be like, oh, you want to go to dinner or whatever. I didn't match your cold for cold.
Right,
and
right.
so then you were like, wait, this isn't working the way it's supposed to. And, like, Adam isn't matching my energy. And so that took us years to figure out, like, you figured it out, but then it was like, well, then how do I fix this part of my brain that is only telling me to be intimate with my husband when he's upset with me, to get him back? And how often is he really upset with? And then I'm having talks with you, and I'm like, well, how often is that? How often am I upset with you? I mean, I could be every day, but I choose not to. I love you. I'm a Christian man. I follow God's principle. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, shoot. So then I'm frustrated in general and with my wife, but I'm not bringing that to you every day. And so it just took years.
Yeah.
So it's not that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There is, if you're willing to put the work.
Yeah.
And if you
Thank
told me,
goodness.
Adam, you can avoid all that junk, and Ashlee can avoid it all by, now who's to say there's God's will? Like, who's to
Right,
say would
right.
we have even connected with each other unless you met those losers? I don't know, but because I mean, you put a Lamborghini next to them little Tonka cars, I look way better. So it's like, would you? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So again,
That's
like,
good.
God's plan is in
Yeah.
things, and He's redemptive, and obviously our story, helps people, and I'm happy that if that's what God wants, that our authenticity and our honesty helps people, then I'll take it any day. But if I could rewrite that own script, like,
Right.
would I want that for you or me? Like, no, I wouldn't want
No.
that path for me. I would love for you and me to jump into marriage and be intimately ready to start from zero.
Right.
And there's its own issue there with like couples that if they grew up in a religion that just kept beating, sex is bad,
Right.
bad. But outside of that, like having a healthy view of intimacy and again, like there's room for God to redeem anyone.
Absolutely.
And I like your past never bothered me. Your
Yeah.
love for Christ, like I never had an issue. Even stuff that you struggled with and I struggled with, like, as long as your faith is your priority, your relationship with God, to love each other, forget, and say, hey, we got married, we got committed to this. Like, I didn't marry a perfect person, but I
Yeah.
married a person who wants to be perfected by Christ, and that's
Yeah.
what matters.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be perfected by the Lord? And if you do, I do, and so I want a healthy marriage. Are we willing to both work for that? Yeah, we are. It can take time, but,
Yeah, that's good. Man,
anyways,
we jacked up. I'm kidding.
that was some big rabbit
That
trails.
was good.
Yeah.
No, I loved it.
Well, everybody, thanks for joining us on Beyond
Yeah.
Idea. What's that, Nance?
One video.
It was one video? Yeah, I knew it would get Ashlee started, but then I didn't know it would bring me into getting started too, so
Yeah.
I thought I'd be pretty calm about it.
To war.
But I just think of all of Ashlee's poor decisions. It just gets me. No, I'm just playing. All right,
All with
everybody.
a tweckled eye.
Yeah, with the sleepy eyelash. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
guys.
Bye.